Yes, the last observation is the different one.
So don't consider the last
Grade 1,
observation.
grade 2,
Since
grade 1, grade 2 marks are also different.
so first and the second dataset contains different compare only first four observations.
Say, uh,
Sir, for one, the state is
The grades are different.
grade 2 lo last two observations values difference.
I'm telling you, don't consider the last observation. Consider only four
State.
observations.
State is also different.
My question is, how many differences that we have between two data sets?
Four sir. Values లో అక్కడ 78 ఉంటే ఇక్కడ 79 ఉంది సార్.
How many differences total?
Six.
Okay, tell me in each variable wise, how many differences that we have? How many differences that we have in state?
ఇది ఎంబీఏ సార్ ఫస్ట్ లో ఎండి ఉంది ఇక్కడ ఎంబీఏ ఉంది సార్
Two.
అండ్
Two.
ఎంబీఏ
How many differences that we have in the grade 1?
29 and 73.
2 సార్.
How many differences that we have in the grade 2?
2 సార్.
So total, how many differences we have?
6.
Now tell me how much time it took for you to identify the difference between these two data sets? 5 minutes?
Yes sir.
In the real time,
Sir, only one difference is there, sir.
what is the one difference?
One in second data, third observations.
What is that?
79, 73.
Only that difference?
It is not there in first data sets. No?
Only that difference only? Now, in the real time, in most of the companies, we do double programming. The first program is called production side. The second program is called validation side. Okay. The first program is called production and the main production or mains, and the second program is called validation program. For both the programmers, they will provide you the same data. For both the programmers, they will provide the same task, same specifications. So if the specification is same, if the data is same, how should be the end product? What should be the end product? End product should be the same, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
నేను క్లాస్ అందరికి ఒక హోంవర్క్ ఇచ్చి ఒకే క్వశ్చన్ ఇచ్చాను అనుకోండి, ఆన్సర్ ఎలా ఉంటుందండి దానికి ఎప్పుడు కూడా? There will be only one answer, right?
Sure.
Now, in the same way, in the real time, they do a double programming. అంటే సేమ్ టాస్క్ ఇద్దరికి ఇస్తారనమాట. ఒకరిని మెయిన్స్ ఆర్ ప్రొడక్షన్ అంటారు, సెకండ్ వన్ వ్యాలిడేషన్ అంటారు అనమాట. So both the programmers, the main side and the production, the validation side, both are going to submit the program, submit the data set, final data set. Now the validation team will validate or compare both mains and validation output. Since the specification is same, since data is same, the output product should be the same. If the output product is not same, then there will be the issue. They are going to send the code back. 1 second. Hello. చెప్పండి. చెప్పండి. Okay. Yeah, in the real time, as I said, we do the double programming. So if they give the same task to two people, and if I start comparing both the data sets manually, if I keep one data set here, and if I keep the two data set here, if I started comparing both the data sets manually, we have only 5 variables and 5 observations or 4 observations. For only 5 variables and 4 observations, it took 5 minutes time. Just imagine in the real time, we are going to have millions of observations, hundreds of variables, and how to compare, how much time it will take. It is going to take a lot of time, to compare both the data sets. To avoid such like waste of time. Now to compare two data sets, we have a procedure, and that procedure we call it as a Proc Compare. What is the procedure that we have? We have a Proc Compare procedure. What the Proc Compare procedure can do? Proc Compare procedure compares two data sets at data set level, at variable level, at observation level, and at value level. So it compares two data sets at a data set level,
Variable level.
and it compares at a variable level, and it also compares at a observation level, and it also compares at a value level. Now, and it returns the differences between two data sets. It returns differences between two data sets. In the real time, we use Proc Compare procedure very often to compare two data sets to validate the program, to validate the data sets. Okay, now how to use a Proc Compare procedure? Now I'm going to write a Proc Compare base is equal to data set, and then compare is equal to data set. Now I'm writing Proc Compare base is equal to, I'm writing a data set name 1. I have one data set here, and then I am writing the second option, compare is equal to the second data set, which is 2. Keep a semicolon. Now write the run statement. If I select the program and execute the program, Proc Compare procedure will return that output in output window or in the result viewer window. We are going to have so much of information in the output window. And now we'll see that what is this information, how we can understand this information. First of all, as I said, the comparison will take place at the data set level. Now, can you see it is going to compare two data sets? By the way, we have the compare procedure, comparison of work.1 with work.2. Now, the data set level summary. First data set work.1, that means in the work library, we have a data set called 1, and we created just now on 16th August 2022, 7 o'clock, 14 minutes, 15 seconds. And both creation date and modification dates are same. And in the first dataset, we have 5 variables, number of variables, and 4 observations. And the dataset label is first dataset. And the second dataset work.2. And just now we created, and it has got 6 variables and 5 observations. And the label of the dataset is second dataset. Now dataset level summary over. Then we have a variable summary. Number of variables in common 5. Number of variables in work.2, but not in work.1. We have seen in the second dataset, we have major dataset, major variable. We do not have that in 1. Number of variables with the conflicting types. So that means one variable, both dataset contains that same variable, but the data types are different. Now, can you tell me what is that variable? Same name, different data types? Which variable we have that one? Student. So conflicting data types, student here we have a numerical variable, here we have a character variable. Okay, and number of variables with, with variables with differing attributes. 3 variables. So what are the 3 variables? So here we have a label for year. We do not have a label year. And in the second set, we have a label for state. We do not have the label for state here. And we have a format for grade 1, but we have a different one here. We have a 4.1 and a 5.2. So total 3 variables with the differing attributes. What are those? Year, state, and grade 1. And then listing of common variables with the conflicting data types. I told you what is the variable which contains different data types? Student. Variable name is student. In work.1, numerical variable and length is 8. In the work.2, character variable length is 8. So this is called conflicting data types. But generally, when I was discussing about the attributes, I told you data type is also a type of, it is an attribute. But here it is considering different. It is a conflicting data type. So, and when it comes to the attributes, it is considering label format as a different one. Can you see here listing of common variables with differing attributes? What are those? Year. In the first data set, we have a label called year of birth. In the second data set, we do not have a label for that one. And next one is state. In the first data set, we do not have a label, but in the second data set, we have a label called home state. And grade 1. In the first data set, we have a format 4.1. In the second data set, we have 5.2. These are the 3 variables with differing attributes: year, state, and grade 1. And it will not consider the grade 2. It will not consider the grade 2, and it will not, because we do not have any differences in the grade 2. Now, variable label is got over. Now, observation summary. The first observation is considering, base 1, compare 1. First up, one observation. And the first unequal, in the first observation itself, there is some different values. Last unequal, 4 is unequal. Last match, 4. And in the first data set, we have only 4 observations. In the second, we have 5. That is the last observation. Number of observations in common, 4. Because one data set contains 4, another data set contains 5 observations, so common 4. Number of observations in work.2, but not in work.1. You know that we have an extra observation, so one extra observation. Total number of observations read from work.1, 4, and from work.2, 5. And then we have a number of observations with some compared variables unequal. So that means in all the 4 observations, we have somewhere difference. Here we have an 85. Here we have an 84. First observation is different. In the second data set, we have a state MD. Here we have MA. That is different. In the third observation, here we have a 78, 72. We have 79, 73. Third difference. And the fourth one, we have a state MA. Here we have MD. Here we have a 74. Here we have 94. That is also different. So that means all the 4 observations are different in both the data sets. And then number of observations with all compared values. No observation is equal, so 0 observations are equal. Now observation level is over. Now we have value level comparison. Number of variables compared with all observations equal in 1. Now see, when you're comparing, you should not consider the student, because when you're comparing Proc Compare procedure will not consider variable with differing data types. So eliminate that variable. And you should not take major also, because major is not present in the DS1, which is present only 2. So you should not take that one. So you have to compare only year, state, grade 1 and grade 2, because we have both here in both the data sets. You should not consider the student, because here is a numerical, here is a character. So don't consider that one. And don't consider the major also, because we do not have a major in the one. So only consider year, state, grade 1 and grade 2. Now, if you compare in that way, tell me in one of the variables, and of course, while considering comparing, you should compare only 4 observations. If you are comparing in that way, tell me in which variable we have all the 4 values are same. In which variable we have all the 4 variables are same? 4 values?
Student.
I told you, you should not consider the student. Don't consider the student, because different data types.
Year, sir. Year.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Here, sir.
Here is same because here we have a 1970, 71, 69, 70. Here also 70, 71, 69, and 70. And the remaining three variables are different. State, grade 1, grade 2. Somewhere we have a difference. And then see number of variables compared with some observations unequal 3. Now the total number of values which compared unequal 6. We have already seen this one. The maximum difference is 20. And yes, we have somewhere here we have a value 70. Here we have a 94, and here we have 74. The difference is 20. And then variables with unequal values. So the first one state. In the state we have a 2 unequal values, and a grade 1 2 unequal values, grade 2 2 unequal values. Here we have a maximum difference also. Then it will take each one. First one is like state. In the base data set, in the second observation, the state value is MD, and in the compare data set, the state value is MA. So one difference. In the fourth observation, state value is in the first data set, the state value is MA. In the second data set, the state value is MD. Two differences. Now the next grade 1. In the first observation, base data, which is one data set contains 84, and compare data set contains 80. 85. This here 85, 84. It is always the difference is compare minus base, so the difference is -1. So if it is a -1, what is the percentage in difference? So now we'll get the percentage in difference. So grade 1 contains in the base data set, that is one data set contains 71, 78. In that, two data set contains 79. So 79 minus 70, 79 minus 78 is equal to difference is 1. So then we can find the difference in grade 2. So this is how we are going to get analysis report. First, we are going to get a data set level, then variable level, then you will get observation level, and then you are going to get a value level comparison. Understand this one? This is how we are going to get analysis report. What is the basic procedure we should write? Proc compare, base is equal to the first data set, and then compare is equal to the second data set. Understand this one? No. But if I execute this program, where I'm getting all this report? I'm getting all this report in the output window. But in the real time, we need to save all this information into a data set. If you save this information data set, so we can document that information. Now to save this information in a data set, now we are going to use an option called out is equal to. Out is equal to a data set name. Now whatever the data set name that you have written in the data set, all these compare procedure results will be get saved. Now how to do that one? Now see, I am writing proc compare, base is equal to 1, and then I'm writing compare is equal to 2, semicolon, run. But if I execute this program, you will get the information output window, right? But I want to save this information data set. Now I'm writing out is equal to a data set name called 3. You can any data set name. Now what is going to happen? Now you will get the information in the output window at the same time. The information will be get saved in a data set as well. But in the data set, you will not have whatever the information that you have seen in the output window. You cannot see that all the information in the data set. It will say only the differences. Or can you say how many observations we have? 4. You know why we have 4 observations? Because we have 4 observations from the DS1 data set comparing with the 4 observations in the 2 data set. So we have 4. We are going to getting by default differences only. The first one, the observation number, first observation, year of birth, no difference, 0. State also no difference, but in the grade 1, we have a -1 difference. In the grade 2, 0 difference, no difference. In the second observation, year of birth, no difference, but in the state, we have a difference. If you have a difference in a character variable, you will have an X symbol. No difference in the grade 1, no difference in the grade 2. In the third observation, no difference in the year of birth, but we have no difference in the state, but we have a difference in grade 1 and grade 2. So when you save the information in a data set, by default, it saves only the differences between 2 data sets. Understand this one? Now, anyway, since I could able to save the information in a data set, then why should I get this information in the output window? I don't want to have in the output window. I want to save information in the dataset. Since I could able to save the information dataset, now I'm going to use an option called no print. If I specify the no print option, now see, I'm copying the same program. Now I'm pasting it over here. This time, along with the out is equal to 3, I'm going to specify an option called no print. No print option suppresses printing of the information in the output window, but it will save all that information in the dataset called 3. Understand this one? Now, as I said, in the dataset, we have only the differences between two datasets. But what I want to do, I want to find all the information. So if you want to find all the information, now I'm writing proc compare. Base is equal to first dataset. Then I'm writing compare is equal to the second dataset. I want to save all this information in dataset. Now I'm writing, say, for example, out is equal to 3. But I want to save all the information. Now to save all the information, I'm writing an option called out all. If I specify out all, now all the information will be get saved in the 3 dataset. Now I'm selecting this program, executing it. Now I will get information output window, but I do not want to have any information in the output window. So I'm specifying no print option. Now select the program and execute it. Now this information now will be get saved, in the 3 dataset. Previously we got only 4 observations, we got only the differences, but can you say what we have now? We have, the detailed information. What is the detailed information that we have here? Here we have a detailed information like this one. So we have, this is the 1 data set, this is the 2 data set. Holidays are not enough. Still we have, very few people are attending the classes. Proc compare. Base is equal to 1. Compare is equal to 2. Out is equal to, I'm writing 3. And I'm writing, say, for example, an option called out all. I'm going to specify no print option. I'm writing the run statement. Now select the program and execute it. Now go to libraries, go to work library. Now we have, 1 data set we have written in the base is equal to 2 data set we have written. Sorry, we have 2 data set we have written, in the compare is equal to, and then the out we have written 3 is equal to. Now this is how we have. Now we have 1 observation from base dataset, 1 observation, base dataset, 1 observation from the compare dataset. Now we have a difference between them, and then we have a percentage in difference. Now, second observation from base dataset, second observation from compare dataset, difference between them and the percentage. Third observation from the first dataset, third observation from the second dataset, difference and the percentage. Fourth observation, and we have a difference, and then we have percentage in difference. Then we have, and we have fifth observation in the compare. We do not have a fifth observation. The base is equal to. Now we got that 1 extra observation. Understand this one? So when you specify out all, we are going to have one observation from base and a compare, and then we have a difference, base first observation, compare first observation, difference and percentage. Then the second observation, then the third observation, then the fourth observation. So if you want to have this detailed information, what is the option we should write? We should write out all. Understand this one? Now, instead of out all, what are the other options that you can write? Instead of out all, now I'm writing, say, for example, an option called out base. You know what will happen if I write the out base? Only base dataset observations will come into output dataset. Now say I'm writing proc compare. Base is equal to 1. Base is equal to 1. Then I'm writing compare is equal to 2. Compare is equal to 2. And then I'm writing out is equal to 3. And I'm writing no print option. And I'm writing, out base. Tell me, in the base is equal to option, which dataset that we have? Base is equal to which? What is the dataset that we have in the base is equal to?
1.
1. Now we are going to have only one dataset observations in 3 dataset. Can you see? We have only base dataset observations. Now in the same way, what other thing that you can write? Now we can write outcome. What will happen if I write outcome? We are going to have only comparison dataset observations. Now, so that means we are going to have 2 dataset observations in the 3 dataset, 5 observations. What we are going to have by default? By default, we have this one. By default, what we have? We have out diff. That's why we got only differences. So we have an out diff. So say select the program, execute it. We are going to have by default, difference. But what we can write now, we can also write one more option, which is called, out percent. So if I write out percent, what will happen now? We are going to have only percentage in difference. Difference in percentage. Now I'm writing, out percent. Now see, this is how we are going to get it. Only percentage. So what we can write? We can write out comp. We can write, out all.
Base.
We can write out base, out comp, out diff, and out percent. By default, what we are going to have?
Out diff.
Out diff. Out diff is the default option, but you can also specify as an out diff. Now we can write one more option called out no equal. If I specify out no equal, so we are going to have only unequal values. Now say instead of out base or something, I'm writing for out no equal. Now select the program and execute the program. Now in the 3 dataset, we are going to have, when we have the same value, we are going to have equal. When we have different value, difference we have. When we have difference, we are going to have an E. E means equal, and otherwise we are going to have an whatever the difference that we have. What only numerical variables we are going to have E. If it's a character value, we are going to have a dotted line. If it's a equal, same value. Otherwise, we are going to have an X. Understand this one? Now when we have differences between 2 datasets, I want to print the difference in statistical method or in statistical values. Whatever the difference that we have, and I want to print the differences in statistical values. If you want to do that one, now I'm going to write proc compare. Base is equal to first dataset. Now compare is equal to the second dataset 2. And then now I'm writing, out is equal to, we have already written 3. Now I'm writing, print all is equal to. Okay, I'm using an option called, print all is equal to a dataset name. I am writing dataset name as, for example, 4. Now I'm writing the run statement. Now, if I select the program and execute the program, now we are going to have difference. What is that one? Sorry, we shouldn't print all. We should write an option called out stats is equal to. Now select the program and execute the program. Now we are going to have one more data set now, which is 4 data set. In the 4 data set, we are going to have variables in statistical way. And by default, we get this information only for the numerical variables. Now, in the 2 axes, what are the numerical variables that we have? We have year, grade 1, and grade 2. So now for year, we have 11 statistical difference, we have 11 statistics. For grade 1 also, we have 11 observations because we got this information in a statistical manner. And then for grade 2 also, we got this one. And what are the statistics that you will get? First, you will get n, number of values, mean, which is nothing but average, standard deviation, maximum, minimum, standard error, t-value, probability, number in difference, differential means, and we are going to have r square value. So that means for the year variable, how many values it is taking? From base data set is taking 4 variables, 4 values, from comparison 4, and now starts for like difference values like 4 and percentage 4. And next one, the mean value. In the state, these are the variables that we have: 1970, 71, 69, 70, and what is the average of that one? And the average is 1970. And next, standard deviation for base data set, comparison data set, and the difference or percentage in difference. Maximum year value 1971 in the base data set, 1971 in the comparison data set, no difference, no percentage in difference. And the minimum year value. And then we have a standard error, we have a t-value, we have a probability value, number in difference, differential means, r square value. And again, for the grade 1 also, we have 11 statistics. And then for grade 2 also, we are going to have an 11 statistics. We no need to worry about all these statistics. Just we are going to generate it and we are going to submit to the validation. So if you want to save all these statistics into a data set, what is the option you should write? We should write outstats is equal to data set name. Now, instead of saving all this information to a data set, if you want to print this information output window, now I'm going to specify Proc Compare. Base is equal to, for the first data set, which is 1. Then I'm going to write the compare is equal to 2 data set. And then I'm writing, say, for example, an option called print all. If I execute this program, whatever the information, statistical information that you saved previously in 4 data set, now the same information is going to print in the output window. So can you see, for year we have 11 statistics. Then for grade 1, we have 11 statistics. For grade 2 also, we have 11 statistics. Understand this one? So if you want to print this information in the output window, we should write an option called print all. Okay. Now, I do not want to have a complete detailed information. I want to have just a brief summary. Now, if you want to have a brief summary, now I should write Proc Compare. Base is equal to first data set, then compare is equal to the second data set. Yes, I want to have a brief summary. I am writing, so for example, brief summary. Now keep a semicolon, now write the run statement. You won't get the detailed information. You're going to have just a brief summary. That's it. Only one table. And I do not want to have any summary, just I want to have any values. If you do not want to have any summary, then what we are going to do, now we are going to specify an option called no summary. You won't get any summary, just we are going to get the values like this one. Now I want to have only text information. I do not want to have any values information. So if you want to do that one, we are going to specify an option called no values. So you will not get any values. We are going to have just text information. Whatever the difference that we have, I want to print the differences in the log window as an error. If you want to print as an error, now we are going to specify an option called error. Now it will print the information in the log window as error. You know that the error will appear red in color. So it will print the same text in red color. But I want to print the same information as a warning. You know that a warning will appear green in color. If you want to print it as a warning, now I'm going to specify here instead of error, I'm going to specify warning. If I specify warning, the same information will print in green color as a warning in the log window. Understand this one? Now, tell me, when I write a proc compare like this one, proc compare base is equal to 1, and then I'm writing compare is equal to 2. If I write like this one, what will happen? It is taking comparison of all the variables, right? But I do not want to compare all the variables. I want to compare one variable from one data set with one variable from the two data set. If you want to compare in that way, we are going to write now two statements. The first statement is going to be var statement. In the var statement, I am writing a variable called grade1. If you write a var statement, it will consider the variable, it will consider the variable from the base data set. But I want to compare one variable from base data set with one variable from the compare data set. If you want to compare in that way, now we should var statement. In the var statement, if you write any variable, it will take the variable from the base data set. Now I'm writing the second statement, which is with statement. In the with statement, I'm going to write a grade1. That means if you write a with statement, it will take the variable from the compare data set. Now, what is going to happen if I execute this program? It is going to compare grade1 of one data set, grade1 of one data set with grade1 of two data set. Okay, now say select the program and execute the program. Only one variable is going to get compared. Now it will not compare all the variables. It is going to compare only one variable. Understand this one? Now I want to compare grade1 only, but I want to compare it by state. So I want to do it by, for each state differently. So in the scenario, what we should write now, I am going to write a variable called, and I'm going to write a statement called, by statement. In the by statement, I'm writing a variable called state. But what is the prerequisite if you want to write a by statement? What is the prerequisite if you want to write the by statement?
Sort the data.
All the version data should be getting in a sorted order. Now I'm writing proc sort data is equal to first data set 1. I'm writing by state and semicolon run. And again, I'm writing proc sort data is equal to second data set, which is a 2 data set. Now I'm writing by state semicolon run. So both the data set is going to get sorted, and then I can write the by statement. Now, by state wise, now we are going to have comparison. We are going to have PA state separately, and we are going to have comparison, for NC states separately. We have a comparison for MD states separately, and we have comparison for MA states separately. So if you want to compare two data sets by any one variable, now we are going to write a by statement. And finally, if you want to compare two variables from one data set, so what we should write? Now I'm going to write proc compare. Base is equal to 1, and I'm not writing a compare option. Simply, I'm writing only base is equal to 1. Then I'm writing a var statement. I'm writing, say, for example, grade1. Then I'm writing a with statement. In the with statement, I'm writing grade2 semicolon run. What will happen now? Now, with statement will take grade2 from the base data set. So that means var statement and with statement, both the statements will take variables only from one, because we do not have, here compare data set. So if you want to compare two variables from one data set, so you no need to write a compare option, simply write only base option. So in the var, we should write one variable from the same data set, var2, another variable from the same data set. Now grade1 of 1 will compare with grade2 of 1. Understand this one? This is how we compare two variables from the same data set. Clear, everybody? When we use generally, Proc Compare procedure. What is the purpose of Proc Compare when we use Proc Compare procedure? The first one is, to identify the difference between, two data sets. Between, like, if you have, what are the difference, we have between two data sets, what are the variables we have, and what are the different variables that we have in both the data sets, and to identify the differences in observations also. So by running the Proc Compare procedure, we can identify what are the differences that we have in between two data sets in observation wise and in variable wise. And not only that one, by running the Proc Compare procedure, what we can do, we can find that, like, differing data types, isn't it? So in which data set we have, what are the same variables with the differing attributes, differing data types that we have. At the same time, we can also find differing attributes. So that means same variables with the different labels, different formats also you can identify. Now we can also identify what are the common variables that we have in both the data sets. Common variables. Understand this one? And when you're comparing two data sets, if both data sets are same, what does it mean? The program is also same. Compare, two programs, programming codes, we are going to use Proc Compare procedure. So to understand whether both the algorithms are giving the same output, the different programs are giving the same output. To do that one, we are going to run the Proc Compare procedure. Because in the real time, I am writing a code in my own way. You're also writing code in your own way. So if both our output are same, so our logics are same. You might have written if condition, I might have written where condition, and you might have written, rename option. I might have used rename statement. But whatever it might be, whether the logic is same or not, that is the most important thing. One more important thing, today I connected the data, yesterday you connected to the database and you created a data set. Okay. And today I connect to the same database, I created one more data set. So this data set we created yesterday. This data set we created, yesterday, and this data set we created, today. Just imagine if I run the Proc Compare procedure for both the data sets. If the Proc Compare is showing that there is no difference between these two data sets, that what does it mean? We created one data set yesterday and we created one data set today. If I run the Proc Compare procedure for both these data sets, if I didn't find any difference, then what does it mean? That means from yesterday to today, there was no update in the database. There was no new data updated in the database, isn't it? నేను ఈవినింగ్ క్రియేట్ చేసిన డేటా సెట్ ఈ రోజు క్రియేట్ చేసిన డేటా సెట్ సేమ్ డేటా ఉంది అనుకోండి. వాట్ డస్ ఇట్ మీన్? In the last 24 hours, there was no data update in the database. In the real time, whenever you want to perform the merge and whenever you want to perform the interleaving, before performing this one, we need to understand whether both the data sets contain same variables, same data types, same attributes. To understand that one, by running the Proc Compare, we can see that if you have any conflicting data types, conflicting attributes, so that we can make changes in order to merge or interleave both the data sets. So these are some of the reasons that why we use the Proc Compare processes in the real time. Very, very important procedure for validation purpose. In the real time, how the Proc Compare procedure result should be. Say, for example, see what I'm creating. I'm creating a class 1 and I'm creating a class 2 and I'm creating both from the SAS self-taught class. So both are same, right? Class 1 and class 2, 100% same, right? Because I'm creating both the data from the same original data set. Now see, I am writing now Proc Compare base is equal to, I am writing class 1. Then I'm writing compare is equal to class 2 semicolon. Now write the run statement. Before that, I'm cleaning my output window. and the result viewer output window, both result viewer windows. Now say if I execute this program, this is the output you should get in the real time. First of all, we have a dataset summary, class 1 and class 2. Then we have a variable summary, number of variables in common file. And then we have observation summary. And then this is the note you should get. No unequal values were found. All values compared are exactly equal. In the real time, until you get this one, you are going to write the program again and again. This is the output you should, this is the final result note you should get. If you get this one, that means both the datasets are same. Now it is going to pass the validation. You don't know who is the other programmer. You don't know who is the mains programmer or validation programmer. If you are into validation, the other program is going to be in mains. If you are into the mains, the other program is going to be validation. That person may be in our site only, maybe in a client, maybe in our maybe other team in the same site, maybe different site. You don't know who is the other programmer. And you should not open, you should not open the other programmer's program in the real time. You should not open that one. Understand this one? And this is called Proc Compare in the real time. Clear, everybody? Clear, everyone?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
then. See you in tomorrow's class with
Sir,
another
send
procedure.
sir. Class no, sir.
Proc Compare అయిపోయిందా సార్? ఇంకా రేపు ఏమన్నా ఇంకా కంప్లీట్
Then we are
అయిపోయింది.
going to, yes, done.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ.